Alara Nova stared out the vast observation window, her eyes fixed on the swirling nebulae that served as a reminder of the infinite mysteries of the cosmos. In the softly lit control room of the Celestial Institute, the hum of advanced technology and the quiet murmur of colleagues filled the air with a sense of anticipatory wonder. Humanity had long dreamed of the stars, and now, on the cusp of first contact with an alien civilization, hope intermingled with apprehension. For years, Dr. Nova had dedicated herself to unraveling the enigmas of interstellar signals. Late nights, countless calculations, and endless perseverance had finally led to the detection of a pattern, a cryptic message that hinted at a benevolent presence among the stars. Yet beneath that initial promise of cosmic unity lay an undercurrent of unease that no one could quite explain. In the back of her mind, Alara wondered if the signals were merely a prelude to something far more sinister. Her thoughts were interrupted by the brisk footsteps of Commander Jackson Reeves, whose steely gaze and unwavering resolve had earned him universal respect at the Institute. "Dr. Nova," he said in a tone that was both commanding and gentle, "we need to discuss the latest data from the outer orbital arrays." He carried with him not only the weight of responsibility, but also the burden of secrets. Jackson had been among the first to raise concerns about anomalies in the incoming transmissions, irregularities that hinted at a dual nature in the alien messages. As they gathered around a holographic display, intricate patterns of light and energy danced before their eyes. The data revealed not only a meticulously encoded language, but also a series of coordinates mapping out a constellation of unknown origin. "These coordinates," Alara murmured, "could be the key to understanding their intentions." Jackson's brow furrowed as he replied, "Well, they might be a blueprint for something far more ominous, a trap laid in wait, disguised as a gift from the heavens." The Institute had become a crucible of ideas and debates, where scientists, military officials, and even politicians converged to chart humanity's interstellar future. Yet, amid discussions of unity and collaboration, an undercurrent of skepticism and fear simmered. Whispers told of past encounters with cosmic entities that were anything but benevolent. Legends, shrouded in myth and conjecture, fanned the flames of uncertainty in every corridor of the Institute. In quiet moments of introspection, Alara recalled her late mentor's words. "In the vast tapestry of the universe, not all threads are woven with benevolence. Beware the hidden patterns." Those words had haunted her since childhood, echoing now as mysterious signals pulsed like the heartbeat of an unknown force. She could not shake the feeling that humanity now teetered on the precipice of a momentous betrayal. Outside, the sprawling city lay beneath a twilight sky, its shimmering lights a testament to human progress and resilience. Even amidst technological marvels, a deep-seated vulnerability lingered, a fragile trust that could be shattered by forces beyond comprehension. The world had been transformed by first contact, with governments scrambling to forge alliances with alien emissaries. While official statements proclaimed peace and mutual benefit, hidden dissent and covert maneuvers painted a darker picture. As night deepened, Alara retreated to her private quarters, a small sanctuary adorned with relics of an era when humanity had looked to the stars with unblemished wonder. There, she allowed herself a moment of vulnerability, poring over archived transmissions and personal notes chronicling the Institute's journey from hopeful exploration to cautious scrutiny. Each fragment of data, every whisper of encoded language, only deepened her conviction that the aliens harbored secrets too profound for human understanding. A sudden knock at her door pulled her back from reverie. Lieutenant Mira Santos, her close confidant and trusted colleague, entered, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and urgency. "Alara, you need to see this," Mira whispered, extending a data pad trembling in her hands. The screen displayed intercepted communications from an unidentified source, encrypted messages hinting at a covert alliance between human factions and unknown extraterrestrial forces. A chill raced down Alara's spine. Could betrayal be brewing not only among the stars but within their own ranks? The Institute, once a beacon of hope, now concealed secrets that threatened to unravel the fragile unity upon which they had come to rely. As Alara scanned the messages, one phrase leapt out: "The covenant is broken." It was as if an unseen hand had scrawled those ominous words, sealing the fate of all who dared to trust. Under the weight of this revelation, her heart pounded like the relentless drums of war. Every beat echoed the urgency of the mission that now lay before her, to sift through tangled webs of deceit and expose the truth behind the cosmic signals. In the solitude of her chamber, under the soft glow of the datapad, she re-examined old research logs and cross-referenced intercepted messages. Each file, every fragment of a long-forgotten conversation, whispered hints of a vast conspiracy. It was as though the very fabric of reality was unraveling, leaving behind strands of hidden truths that demanded discovery. Her mind raced with possibilities. Had the aliens, once symbols of interstellar unity, conspired with human collaborators in a bid for ultimate control? Or was a rogue element within the Institute orchestrating events from the shadows? These questions swirled in her thoughts like cosmic debris, pieces of a puzzle she was determined to solve, no matter the cost. As the first light of dawn filtered through the high windows of the Institute, casting long shadows across cold, metallic floors, Elara knew she could no longer remain in isolation. The time had come to share her fears with those capable of helping her rally against the looming threat. With measured resolve, she left her quarters and strode toward the central meeting hall, where the brightest minds of the Institute were already engaged in heated discussions about the future of human-alien relations. Each step carried the heavy burden of uncertainty, yet propelled by an unyielding commitment to protect humanity's essence, she moved forward. In the bustling corridors, hushed whispers of conspiracy and trepidation intermingled with the daily routines of a world on the brink of transformation. Colleagues exchanged glances laden with both hope and fear, a silent acknowledgement of the enormity of the challenge ahead. There, amidst the charged atmosphere, Elara encountered Dr. Marcus Voss, a renowned linguist whose life's work had been dedicated to decoding alien communications. His eyes, usually brimming with intellectual curiosity, now shone with a somber understanding. "Elara," he said softly, "there are forces at work that we can scarcely comprehend. The messages are layered with meanings that defy simple interpretation. I fear what we are witnessing is not an overt act of aggression, but a calculated manipulation designed to sow discord among us." His words resonated deeply, affirming the fears that had already taken root in her soul. Together, they began a hurried analysis of the latest transmissions, drawing experts from fields as diverse as cybersecurity, astrophysics, and military strategy. As the hours slipped by, the initial thrill of discovery gave way to a chilling realization. The data revealed a pattern of subterfuge, an intricate design woven by unseen hands that hinted at betrayal on a galactic scale. The implications were staggering. Should the aliens be orchestrating a covert coup, the repercussions for humanity could be catastrophic, plunging the world into chaos and despair. In that long, uncertain night, as the cosmos pulsed with a hidden rhythm, a heartbeat filled with both promise and peril, Elara Nova understood that every revelation, every intercepted whisper, was a thread in a tapestry of betrayal stretching across galaxies. With resolve hardening in her chest, she vowed to uncover the truth at any cost. The silence of the observation room, the glow of distant starlight, and the ever-present hum of advanced machinery merged into a single, relentless call to action. The first whispers of betrayal had been heard, and as the universe held its breath, the fate of a species balanced precariously on the edge of revelation and ruin. Elara's resolve only deepened in the cold light of morning. Stepping out into the Institute's atrium, she found herself surrounded by colleagues whose faces betrayed both determination and doubt. The datapad that Lieutenant Santos had pressed into her hand burned with its silent urgency, a symbol of the dark undercurrents now roiling beneath the surface of human achievement. The corridors buzzed with frantic conversations about protocols and emergency meetings, yet amid the chaos, an unspoken question hung in the air. Could humanity trust the very emissaries it had long revered? As she navigated through clusters of impassioned debates, Elara's thoughts spun around the possibility that the betrayal might not be extraterrestrial at all. It could be seeded from within. The notion was unbearable. Yet as the Institute's corridors echoed with hushed warnings and guarded glances, it began to take shape like a slowly emerging shadow. Inside a glass-walled conference room, a select group of scientists and strategists had gathered around a circular table. The dim light accentuated the gravity of their expressions. Dr. Voss had already laid out his findings, a series of encrypted transmissions that defied all conventional decoding methods. "These messages," he explained in a low, urgent tone, contain layers of meaning that suggest not only communication, but also manipulation. It is as though someone or something is orchestrating events from behind a veil of secrecy. His words drew murmurs of disbelief and fear. Ilara couldn't help but notice how the scientific rigor in his analysis clashed with the almost mythic quality of the threat they faced. Could it be that the aliens had mastered not only advanced technology, but also the subtle art of psychological warfare? The thought was as chilling as it was revolutionary. Outside the conference room, the Institute's high-security labs hummed with activity. Researchers pored over streams of data while algorithms churned through terabytes of intercepted signals. Every discovery, every anomaly, added another layer of complexity to the emerging narrative. Ilara found herself poring over reams of research late into the night, her eyes growing heavy yet her mind unwilling to surrender to fatigue. In those solitary hours, the Institute transformed into a battlefield of intellect and intuition, a place where hope wrestled with despair, and where every new revelation carried a weight of impending catastrophe. The quiet determination that had defined her for so long now took on a sharper edge, fueled by the conviction that the very survival of humanity might depend on unraveling this cosmic mystery. In the final hours before dawn, as a fragile peace settled over the Institute, Ilara's thoughts turned inward. She wondered about the cost of truth, and whether the price of unmasking the betrayal would be too high for a society already teetering on the brink. Every encoded message, every intercepted whisper, was a siren call toward a future where alliances might shatter and enemies converge in the unlikeliest of places. And yet, even as doubt gnawed at her, Ilara's heart pulsed with undeniable certainty. The path forward demanded courage. The secrets hidden within the starlight could not remain veiled forever, and it was up to her and those like her to illuminate the darkness. As the Institute prepared for another long day of revelations and decisions, the silent promise of the cosmos loomed large, a promise that carried both hope and the threat of betrayal, entwined in the fabric of space and time. Chapter 1. The tension reached a fever pitch in the days that followed. Rumors of clandestine meetings and whispered alliances swept through the corridors of power like wildfire. In dimly lit briefing rooms, military strategists and high-ranking officials huddled over maps and schematics, tracing mysterious trajectories that defied all expectations. It became increasingly evident that the alien transmissions were only one part of a vast, interlocking puzzle. The real shock came when intelligence confirmed that certain human factions, once trusted as steward of progress, had been secretly communicating with an unknown extraterrestrial presence. As evidence mounted, the Institute found itself at the crossroads of hope and betrayal. Commander Reeves, with his trademark steely resolve, spearheaded the inquiry into these covert liaisons. Meetings that once focused solely on peaceful coexistence were now dominated by urgent debates about security and survival. In one such session, a grizzled intelligence officer revealed a series of intercepted transmissions that detailed not only military protocols, but also intricate instructions for subverting established command structures. This isn't the work of rogue hackers or isolated dissent, the officer asserted, his voice low and measured. This is a coordinated effort, a full-scale operation aimed at destabilizing our command from within. The gravity of his words sent ripples of shock through the assembled group, each member acutely aware that the enemy might be closer than anyone had ever imagined. Amid this charged atmosphere, Ilara felt a deep personal responsibility to unearth the truth. Late one evening, after a grueling day of secret briefings and hurried consultations, she returned to her private study. The room, filled with the soft glow of ancient star charts and modern data streams, became her sanctuary. There, she methodically re-examined every intercepted communication, every coded symbol that had emerged from the darkness. Slowly, a disturbing pattern began to take shape, one that implicated not only an extraterrestrial force, but also certain high-ranking officials who had long been celebrated as champions of human progress. The notion that betrayal could be so intimately entwined with the very structures meant to protect them was almost too terrible to accept. The revelations were as multifaceted as the stars themselves. One series of messages, carefully hidden in layers of digital noise, suggested that a secret council had been convening long before the first official contact. Documents recovered from abandoned government archives hinted at a plan so audacious that it defied conventional wisdom, a plan to use the alien encounter as a means to consolidate power and reshape society according to a hidden agenda. Every new detail only deepened the mystery, forcing Alara to confront the possibility that the betrayal might span not only galaxies but generations. With every passing hour, the Institute's atmosphere grew heavier, as if the weight of cosmic destiny had descended upon them all. In hushed conversations during late-night vigils, colleagues spoke of sacrifices made in the name of progress and the bitter cost of misplaced trust. There were those who believed that the aliens had come bearing a message of unity, only to have that message twisted into an instrument of control. Others whispered that the betrayal was not a matter of alien intent at all, but rather a reflection of humanity's own capacity for duplicity. As the Institute teetered on the brink of chaos, every revelation forced each person to question what they had once held sacred, their ideals, their loyalties, and even their understanding of truth. In this maelstrom of suspicion and fear, Alara clung to one immutable conviction: that the light of truth, however faint, must eventually pierce the darkness. Every night, as the stars wheeled overhead in silent testimony to the cosmos' ancient secrets, Alara worked relentlessly. Her eyes, red from countless sleepless hours, betrayed both determination and sorrow. In the quiet solitude of her study, the boundaries between friend and foe blurred into a haze of uncertainty. Yet even as the Institute's corridors buzzed with the energy of impending conflict, she refused to succumb to despair. Instead, she vowed to follow the threads of evidence wherever they might lead, trusting that in the end, the truth would set them free. With the cosmos as her silent witness and the fragile hope of humanity her guiding star, Alara prepared to confront the betrayal that threatened to shatter everything they had ever known. As whispers of conspiracy grew louder and more insistent, a palpable tension began to grip the entire planet. High above Earth's surface, in a secure orbital command center, military strategists and government leaders convened to address the escalating crisis. Satellite images, intercepted transmissions, and confidential reports were laid out before them like the pieces of a vast, unsolvable puzzle. The revelation that trusted factions within the highest echelons of power had secretly reached out to an alien force ignited a firestorm of indignation and fear. The room, filled with murmurs of disbelief and shock, seemed to pulse with the collective heartbeat of a civilization on the edge. Commander Reeves took center stage, his voice calm yet resolute as he addressed the assembly. "We are witnessing an unprecedented act of betrayal," he declared. "Our enemies are not solely among the stars. They have infiltrated our ranks, weaving their influence into the very fabric of our society. We must act decisively or risk falling victim to a manipulation that could dismantle our world." His words, delivered with unwavering conviction, struck a chord with every listener. The enormity of the task ahead was clear: to root out the hidden collaborators and expose the treacherous network that had threatened human unity from within. As the meeting progressed, strategic plans were debated and contingency measures were set in motion. The cold logic of military protocol clashed with the raw emotion of betrayal, creating an atmosphere of both calculated urgency and palpable dread. Meanwhile, back at the Institute, Alara continued her solitary crusade against the dark tide of deception. In the quiet hours before dawn, she meticulously reviewed every byte of data, seeking out even the smallest irregularity that might provide a clue to the true masterminds behind the betrayal. Every discovery was both a beacon of hope and a harbinger of further complexity. A series of anomalous data packets, hidden within layers of benign communications, hinted at secret meetings between high-ranking officials and unidentified extraterrestrial agents. These packets, once decrypted, reveal fragments of conversations so chilling that they could only be described as a blueprint for insurrection. The language was coded in archaic terms and obscure symbols, making it nearly impossible for conventional analysts to decipher. Yet, to Alara, it spoke clearly of collusion, a deliberate, calculated effort to undermine humanity's hard-won unity. Outside the Institute's fortified walls, the world braced itself for a confrontation that transcended the boundaries of Earth. News outlets, though cautious, began to hint at the existence of a shadow network, one that reached into every corner of society. Ordinary citizens, once united in a collective hope for a bright future among the stars, now found themselves caught in a maelstrom of doubt and suspicion. The familiar certainty of everyday life was replaced by a pervasive anxiety, as if the very ground beneath their feet trembled with the promise of an impending upheaval. Across continents, families huddled together, and friends exchanged wary glances, uncertain of whom to trust. In boardrooms and back alleys alike, discussions of loyalty and betrayal became the dominant theme, a dark counterpoint to the once optimistic dreams of interstellar unity. In a secluded corner of the Institute's vast library, Ilara discovered a forgotten archive containing records from the earliest days of the alien contact. The brittle pages, yellowed with time, chronicled an era of unbridled hope and discovery, a stark contrast to the present day's climate of suspicion. As she carefully pored over these documents, a picture began to emerge, a secret pact made long ago, a pact that might have sown the seeds of treachery, now threatening to engulf them all. The archive hinted at clandestine meetings between select government officials and alien emissaries, with promises of technological breakthroughs and unrivaled power in exchange for covert support. The very idea was almost too fantastical to believe, yet the evidence was undeniable. Each new revelation was a blow to the carefully constructed facade of trust and transparency. The betrayal was not the work of a single rogue agent, but rather the culmination of decades of hidden maneuvering, a slow, insidious subversion that now threatened to tear the fabric of society apart. As the command center on an orbital platform monitored Earth with unblinking electronic eyes, a sense of urgency pervaded every discussion. The military, now forced to reckon with an enemy that lurked both in distant space and within their own ranks, prepared for the possibility of all-out conflict. Every decision, every strategy, was weighed against the potential for irreversible catastrophe. Yet even in this charged atmosphere, there remained a flicker of hope, a belief that the truth, once fully revealed, could still serve as a foundation for rebuilding trust and forging a new path forward. Ilara, driven by an unyielding determination, resolved to continue her investigation despite the overwhelming odds. The stakes were higher than ever before, and with each passing moment, the chasm between friend and foe widened. In the silent corridors of the Institute, where the only sound was the steady hum of ancient machinery and modern computers, the future of humanity hung in the balance. Night descended again, draping the world in a cloak of uncertainty as hidden battles were fought not only in command centers and secret archives, but also within the hearts of those who dared to hope. In the chaos of conflicting loyalties and shadowy alliances, a small band of resolute individuals emerged, scientists, soldiers, and ordinary citizens united by a single purpose: to stand against a betrayal that threatened to upend everything they held dear. Among them was Ilara, whose quiet determination had grown into a blazing beacon of defiance. With every encrypted message deciphered and every covert meeting exposed, she drew closer to unveiling the full extent of conspiracy. The stakes were immense, and the danger palpable, yet the spark of rebellion ignited a courage that could not be snuffed out. As whispers of resistance began to circulate, alliances formed in unexpected places, and the once impenetrable walls of mistrust began to crumble. In a hidden safe house far from the prying eyes of corrupt officials and alien sympathizers, a clandestine meeting was held. Under the cover of darkness, voices once silenced by fear now rose in a unified chorus of defiance. Plans were drawn, resources pooled, and a daring counteroffensive was envisioned, a bold gambit to reclaim what had been lost and expose the betrayal in all its multifaceted horror. Ilara, now a reluctant symbol of hope, found herself at the center of this burgeoning movement. In hushed tones and with trembling hands, she shared her discoveries, each revelation forging a stronger bond among those who had long been divided by suspicion. The safe house became a crucible where ideals were reforged in the flames of adversity, and every whispered conversation carried the weight of destiny. As the first hints of a coordinated uprising began to surface, the world outside teetered on the edge of irreversible change. The line between friend and foe had long since blurred, replaced by a single, unyielding truth. The battle for future was not confined to the distant reaches of space, but was waged in every heart and every mind. In that fragile moment between despair and determination, the seeds of revolution were sown. And as the dark tapestry of betrayal was gradually unveiled, a new chapter in humanity's long and tumultuous history began to write itself in bold, uncertain strokes. Even as the uprising gathered momentum, with clandestine cells emerging in cities around the globe and encrypted messages rallying the disaffected masses, the full extent of the alien betrayal remained shrouded in mystery. Illyra Nova, scarred by the weight of hidden truths yet unbowed in her determination, prepared to embark on a perilous journey into the heart of darkness. The evidence she had painstakingly gathered pointed to a convergence of fates, a moment when the alien designs and the machinations of treacherous human factions would collide in a cataclysmic reckoning. It was a journey that promised both salvation and destruction, where every step was fraught with peril, and every decision could alter the course of history. With a small team of trusted allies at her side, Illyra set out from the crumbling bastions of the Institute, leaving behind the relative safety of secret meetings and hidden archives to confront the enemy in the open. Their path took them deep into a labyrinth of abandoned research facilities and forgotten government bunkers, where echoes of past triumphs and failures intertwined. Every ruined corridor and dusty terminal told a story of ambition and betrayal, of hopes once high and dreams now shattered. As they navigated these eerie corridors, the team pieced together a fragmented narrative that spanned decades, a narrative of promises made in the name of progress and ultimately broken by greed and deception. The deeper they ventured, the more they realized that the betrayal was not an isolated incident, but part of a grander design that reached into the very core of human civilization. Night after night, as the team huddled around flickering screens and whispered over yellowed documents, the truth began to emerge in all its dreadful complexity. It was a truth that would force humanity to question its place in the cosmos, to reckon with the possibility that the very ideals it had held sacred were built on a foundation of deceit. And yet, amid the ruins of broken trust and shattered alliances, there flickered a stubborn ember of hope, a hope that, if nurtured, could one day ignite a revolution capable of restoring light to even the darkest corners of the universe. With each step forward, with every coded message unraveled, Illyra felt that long-dormant courage rise within her. The final confrontation, she knew, was inevitable. The forces of betrayal would have to be faced head-on if there was ever to be a chance for redemption. Standing on the precipice of a new, uncertain dawn, Illyra and her allies steeled themselves for what lay ahead. The journey was far from over, and the road was treacherous beyond measure, but in that moment, they shared an unspoken understanding that the future of humanity, and perhaps of the galaxy itself, depended on their ability to rise above the treachery that had poisoned their world. The night was quiet, the air thick with expectation, as if the very stars were holding their breath in anticipation of the coming storm. With determination blazing in her eyes, Illyra took a deep breath and stepped forward into the unknown, ready to confront the betrayal that threatened to tear everything apart.